The Titanic is remembered as a marvel of engineering brought down by an iceberg on its maiden voyage. But what if that's only part of the story? Beyond the tragic headlines lies a tangle of overlooked warnings, mysterious decisions, and powerful figures whose actions may have shaped the disaster in ways most people have never heard. Was it truly an unavoidable accident, or is there more lurking beneath the surface? In this video, we explore the hidden truths, strange coincidences, and enduring questions that challenge the official version of events. This is the story you didn't learn in school. The secret history of the Titanic. Today we will talk about the secret history of the Titanic. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel. The ship that was unsinkable. It was the largest and most luxurious ship ever built at the time. The RMS Titanic wasn't just a ship. It was a symbol of power, wealth, and human progress. Built by the White Star Line, the Titanic was a marvel of engineering. And when it was launched in 1912, its designers were so confident about its strength that they called it unsinkable. A floating palace, the Titanic boasted the most advanced technology, beautiful interiors, and powerful engines. But here's the catch. The confidence that made people call the Titanic unsinkable might have been its biggest flaw. The ship's overconfidence led to dangerous decisions that would ultimately contribute to its downfall. While the Titanic was hailed as a miracle of engineering, some decisions made by the builders and crew suggested a dangerous level of arrogance. The warnings they didn't listen to. The Titanic's maiden voyage started on April 10, 1912, sailing from Southampton to New York. But even before the ship left European waters, dangerous warnings were already coming in. The day before the disaster, the SS Californian, a nearby ship, had warned the Titanic about an ice field directly in its path. The Titanic's radio operators received the message but didn't pass it on to the officers on the bridge. On the night of April 14, as the Titanic steamed full speed ahead, 6 separate ice warnings were received from other ships. Some of the messages came from ships that were much closer to the Titanic, yet they were either ignored or downplayed. Perhaps the most crucial and tragic ignored warning came from the Californian. The ship had already stopped for the night due to thick ice, yet it was still close enough to potentially assist the Titanic in its final moments. Tragically, the Californian's radio operator was off duty, and the Titanic's distress signals went unheard. So, why did the Titanic continue at nearly 22 knots? Experts suggest the pressure to impress was a big part of it. The Titanic was known for its speed, and it was expected to arrive early in New York. To some, it seemed like a race against time to make headlines, a race that ultimately cost hundreds of lives. Lifeboats. A fatal shortage. It seems almost unbelievable today, but the Titanic didn't have enough lifeboats for all of its passengers. There were enough lifeboats for 1,178 people, but the ship was carrying over 2,200 passengers and crew. This was not due to negligence, but rather outdated maritime regulations at the time. According to the laws of the day, ships were only required to have lifeboats based on tonnage, the ship's size, and not passenger capacity. The Titanic's owners, the White Star Line, decided to reduce the number of lifeboats for aesthetic reasons. They believed having fewer lifeboats would make the decks look less crowded and more luxurious. This decision would have deadly consequences when the ship began sinking. But the lack of lifeboats wasn't just a matter of numbers. It was about poor organization. As the ship sank, there was confusion over which lifeboats should be filled and which should not. Lifeboats were launched half-empty because the crew failed to fill them to capacity. This tragic mismanagement led to more unnecessary deaths. The strange cancellations. Who wasn't on board? This part of the Titanic's history is still shrouded in mystery. Several high-profile figures who had originally planned to be on board the Titanic mysteriously canceled their trips at the last minute. The most well-known figure was J.P. Morgan, one of the wealthiest men in the world. Morgan owned the company that ran the Titanic and had a luxurious suite reserved. However, at the last minute, Morgan claimed to be too ill to travel was that of Milton Hershey, the founder of Hershey's Chocolate. Hershey had initially reserved a spot on the Titanic but canceled at the last moment. Was it pure coincidence, or did these men know something others didn't? We'll never know for sure, but it raises questions about what information they might have had. Some believe that there were specific warning signs that made certain people stay away from the ship, and perhaps they knew that danger was imminent. The SS Californian, a ship that could have saved lives. The night the Titanic sank, there was another ship nearby, the SS Californian. It was only about 10 miles away from the Titanic, and its crew saw the distress rockets launched by the Titanic. Yet for some unknown reason, the Californian never came to its aid. Some experts argue that had the Californian responded immediately, hundreds of lives could have been saved. The Californian's radio operator had gone to bed, leaving the ship unable to hear the Titanic's distress calls. But was that all? Many believe the Californian's crew saw the Titanic's rockets and mistook them for celebration signals rather than distress flares. Others suggest a more sinister theory, that the Californian's captain, Stanley Lord, deliberately chose not to assist, either due to a misunderstanding of the Titanic's distress signals or possibly due to other personal or professional reasons. The tragic truth is that, for some reason, the Californian never responded. What could have been a rescue mission instead became a missed opportunity. Conspiracy theories. Was it more than just an accident? The Titanic story is filled with conspiracy theories. One of the most discussed theories is the Olympic switch theory, which suggests that the Titanic was swapped with its sister ship, the RMS Olympic, after the Olympic was damaged in an earlier collision. According to this theory, the Olympic was disguised as the Titanic and sent to sea as part of an insurance scam. The theory posits that the White Star Line wanted to use the Titanic's launch to make up for the massive financial losses from the Olympic's collision. While there's no concrete evidence for this theory, it remains a topic of heated debate among Titanic enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists. Survivors' stories. The human cost. Out of the over 2,200 people on board, only 705 survived the Titanic disaster. Their stories offer an insight into the chaos and horror that took place as the ship sank. Many lifeboats were launched with only half the capacity filled, simply because there was confusion over the evacuation process. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.